I wanna try and take in all the highs, embrace them for more than a moment's time. I want you, please don't move when I push you away. I know I contradict myself some days, but will you ride the lows with me?
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio. I am your host, Kristen Sunanta Walker. Our goal is to help discussions about mental health be a regular part of your daily life, no different than discussions about physical health. Mental illness can be a topic of discussion under the umbrella of mental health, along with so many other topics. This show is the original program on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com. Our network of shows are played in over 180 countries and cover more topics under that umbrella than you can possibly imagine. We were talking about mental health long before it became cool and popular to talk about, and thank goodness it has become so popular. We have incredible guests, advocates, patients, experts, people. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy our intro music, a song named Lows, written by Aubrey Toon. You can find her music at www.aubreytoone.com.
That night when I started praying, I cried, will you ride the lows with me? Will you ride the lows with me? When I'm down, my vision gets blurry.
Melinda Edwards, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
It's so wonderful to be with you again, Kristen. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Me too. We had such a great conversation the last time you came on, and we've stayed communicating. And what I want you to just give a short re-intro of who you are, and then let's get into what you're doing, your upcoming event that people can join by Zoom, and that I've invited like 20 people to now.
Oh, bless you. Thanks. Well, I am a psychiatric physician in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm the founder of a 501c3 nonprofit organization that serves to deepen the understanding of autism and neurodiversity in the world. And that nonprofit was born out of my journey with my daughter, Sachi, who is 16 years old and who is autistic. Yeah, and you mentioned the upcoming event. I had given a TEDx Charleston talk on the gift of autism a while back, and one of the people in the audience approached me and asked me if I could expand on that. It was very well received, and people really resonate with this deeper understanding of autism because it's just truth. So she had asked me, she is the founder of the Sophia Institute in Charleston, South Carolina. She asked me to do a dive in deep sort of expansion on that talk. And so that is scheduled for July 8th. It's hybrid, so you can attend in person if you're in the Charleston area or virtually, and you can sign up at thesophiainstitute.org. And the title of the presentation is The Gift of Autism, Returning to Interconnectedness.
I love that. I love it so much, and it's so interesting the new people that have showed up in my life that since getting diagnosed, and that it's an interesting journey how you sort of fine tune your friend network system once you get diagnosed.
Yes.
Because you're
Yes.
like, oh, okay, well, maybe that wasn't healthy. And I've just been kind of hanging out because I thought I can't lose any more friends or whatever the reasoning is. But then you learn, oh, I'm allowed to fine tune things for myself. So I love that I got that information from you and I sent it out to specific people that are new people that I know and some, that I've known for a while. And just the amount of what? She's going to talk about this. Where is it? Well, I will fly there from anyone. You don't have to fly there. You can go on Zoom. Oh, what is this? It was amazing. It was amazing. And I'm like, those are the kind of people I want to hang with that are excited about this.
And isn't it wonderful that when we start to deepen into ourselves, into this truer, I will say, frequency that is who we really are, this more subtle frequency, that people begin to come into our lives that are resonating. And, I tend to see and sense things in terms of energy. So I'm speaking from the energy level, but we can address this from any level that we tend to attract the people that are like-minded or like-energied or however we want to say it. So the support that we need as we move through our journey appears. And it's not always it just appears. Sometimes we have to seek it out, but it's just such a sort of miraculous process to see that happen.
It is absolutely. And I think I want to ask you about when you cultivate, when you really learn how to cultivate and craft your life around honoring yourself, which is so not what we're taught. Right.
Yeah.
I wonder what country could you go to? Maybe Bhutan, I don't know, but could you go to where from the moment you're born, you're ushered in with such love and reverence and who are you going to be? What are your skills? Oh, you're good at that. I noticed that. I hear you. Let's nurture that talent. Let's take that somewhere. I witness you. I see you. I hear you. So that no child grows up feeling projected upon or insecure or ashamed. Where does that exist? Well, it exists because we'll create that world for ourselves.
Yeah. And it seems to be somewhat of the human condition that we arrive in that pure, open, porous state that, by the way, my sense is the autistic people I know reside there.
Yeah.
We arrive in our infant bodies in that state. And it seems to be the human condition where we develop walls and defenses as we develop our individual sense of a me, as we develop our ego. And it's in reaction to, feeling pain or fear or shame from our environment. But it seems to be just part of the process, right? And through what to me the miraculous process is that those very wounds are the doorways back to what we really are. That's been my experience as a psychiatrist in my life, as a psychiatrist. I see that with my patients every day that their wounds are the doorways back. In fact, if we ignore the wounds and the pain and all of that, the shame, the anger, all of those layers that we have to be willing to be with and embrace, if we ignore them, we miss the opportunity to come back to ourselves because coming back to truth, to what we all are at our core, which is love, not just an idea, it's the absolute truth. But coming back to that requires that we be fully present with, that we embrace each aspect of ourselves. And in doing that, we're embracing those aspects in other people because we truly are not separate. So when I'm able to be with my shame, my anger, my fear, only then can I genuinely be present with that in someone else because we aren't separate.
Exactly. And it's almost like it's proof. Well, I don't even say almost like it's proof at how resilient we are because I wonder if somewhere in the future we'll learn that we didn't have to come
Yeah,
out and have all these battles and have to claw and
yeah,
go out into the wilderness on your Aboriginal walk and just get beat up. And Captain Dan, was that all you got? Like we think and we've been told that it has to be that way. That's part of the human rite of passage. And I wonder if one day we'll find out that it actually, that was put on us, that was created to keep us saddled down, to keep us from figuring out who we actually are. And that
yeah,
if one day people will be born and they don't have
yeah.
to deal with all that.
Yes, and I think we're actually moving into that. And that kind of brings us to, what my upcoming talk is about and what you and I had touched base on sort of bringing into this conversation, which is um, my sense is that we are evolving into that. And that one of the reasons we still have to go through harshness is because of, again, I sense in terms of energy, but the vibrational frequency of the collective, it's a harsher energy. So of course, those who are vibrating at a higher frequency, when they come into the world, it is so hard,
Yeah.
because of the exquisite sensitivity. I'm not autistic. I don't meet criteria for that, but I am exquisitely sensitive. So I
Yes.
know that feeling of it just being so harsh and so hard. However, my sense is the collective frequency, it may not seem like it on the surface because of all the stuff going on, but the collective frequency is starting to vibrate at a higher level. And when that happens, all the junk has to come up to be seen individually and collectively. So my sense is that's what's happening on the collective level when we look at all the political stuff, all the violence, all of that, all the harshness, the hatred, all of that is coming up to be seen. It's not just out there, it's in here. So, when we see it out there, I think it's really important that we own those parts of ourselves and find those parts of ourselves, not just mentally, oh, I have that too. No, but really finding those places in us that are angry, that are hateful, that would be violent if we didn't have sort of stop guards. Um, so circling back around, my sense is we are evolving. Our consciousness or what we are aware of is evolving. In the distant past, human beings used to just be more aware of the physical. Um, Over time, they became more aware of a subtler level, the psychological. Freud, Jung, all of those, and even before them, started becoming aware of the mental, the emotional, when we sort of got out of survival mode of the physical, right? Now we're shifting into awareness of what's even deeper than that, which can be called interconnectedness, love with a capital L, truth with a capital T, God with a capital G, the Tao, whatever we want to call it. It's that we all are at our core, that subtle vibration that is uh, common to all of us. It's not unique to any of us. And so our consciousness or our attention, our awareness, we're starting to become aware of that more and more. And I think, you know, the popularity of the telepathy tapes is one indication of how the collective conscious is popping. I founded the nonprofit organization Living Darshan that I mentioned before. If anybody's interested, livingdarshan.org. I founded that maybe 7, 8 years ago. And there was a lot of effort, trying to get the word out. It wasn't really taking, the collective just wasn't quite ready. And more recently, it's like, okay, like popcorn, in the collective. It's not just here in the US with the telepathy tapes, it's all over the world. The popcorn effect is happening and it's beautiful. And I want to add that my sense of part of this evolution of consciousness is directly related to more and more beings who are autistic, who are exquisitely sensitive, who are extremely porous coming into the world. When we have, more and more porous beings coming into our field of consciousness, the collective energy, it can't help but start bringing the rest of the vibration up to a higher frequency. And so that is my sense of what's happening with autism. And it's not just that autism is being more diagnosed. It is now 1 in 32 children are being diagnosed, and I'm sure there are more than that. In 2000, it was 1 in 150, and even just a few years ago, it was 1 in 36. So it's not just that it's being recognized more. It is there are more beings coming in who are extremely porous, extremely sensitive, and simply incapable of adhering to the norms of society. Thank goodness.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank goodness. I know. I think about the kids. I think it's Gen Alpha that's being born now, or it's being born, or no, it's Gen Beta that will be born next year. Anyway, I'm writing another book about a young woman who's born next year, and she's one of those new coded human beings that's born with this kind of awareness. And I'm just going to take that journey with her. I have no idea if anything that I say will be accurate or come true, but it doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It's just why all of a sudden are so many of us getting these messages, and we have to get it out there in whatever way is creativity for us, because
Yeah.
it's not just me that's feeling this incredible burst of creative
Yes.
need. Not out
Yes.
of, and it's none of it is look at me, see me, witness me.
Um,
No, I'm doing it under a pen name. It is not about my ego. It is not, and I will do some things under my name because it's not about hiding either. It's just,
right.
it's
I
not
get it.
about my ego. I don't need to be famous or to have recognition or to have people tell me. It's just to put it, I got to get it out of me. I just have
I
to. And
totally
that's
get it.
artistry, isn't it? Whether other people like it or not doesn't matter if it's
No,
you.
it's a higher calling, and this s- I really resonate with that. I knew for decades that I was going to write a book, but it just didn't come. It didn't come. I wondered why. Then all of a sudden, I knew it was time. This was 2020, the year the pandemic started, January of 2020. So I put in February, I put in a couple months notice to work saying I had to take a year's leave of absence. I knew I needed that time. I didn't know how I was going
Wow.
to do it financially or anything. Well, sure enough, I put in my notice, and the last day of my work was when the pandemic started. So I didn't have as much time to write as I thought I would because my daughter was home and I was teaching her. However, it was a river coming through the back of me, through my chest, that could not be denied.
Exactly.
Regardless of circumstances, the finances, the everything, there was no, there just wasn't even a thought of saying no to it. It just was like, oh, it's time. The river was pushing its way through. And so that's how that book was born. So that book, if people are interested, is Psyche and Spirit: How a Psychiatrist Found Divinity Through Her Lifelong Quest for Truth and Her Daughter's Autism. It's available on Amazon and other online. But the last third of that is about my journey with my daughter up to that point and how I came to this deeper understanding of autism. It was through her. Yeah.
And
So,
there's no, um, how we met is so interesting to me, and the channels that we came through, and it doesn't even matter. It's just we were supposed to meet, and because
yes.
I am right on the same. You were earlier than me, and I'm just like, I'm so excited about what you're doing. I mean, I think it's so fascinating that I have always had this need for South Carolina, and I'm like, why? It's the South. It's is
Right.
not that I'm putting that down. Oh my gosh, please don't, anyone listening, don't think it's
But
just not where I
it's
grew up.
conservative, yes. And it tends to be, although, Charleston, where I live, is all these people move here from California, from other places. So it is.
So of course it sings to me. I'm from California.
There you go. There you go. So we would absolutely love to have you here. I have to speak to, while we're talking, of course, the popcorn starts popping inside of me and I get so excited. But one thing I want to speak to about, you're talking about, manifesting in the world, creation, creating, and the impulse to do that. It's not just an impulse. It's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a mandate. That's it. It's
Yes,
a mandate
it's a
that,
human need. We have to look, we give birth to beings. We also give birth to creative
yeah.
endeavors.
Yes. And it's a mandate from that deeper part of ourselves that is truth, that is God, that is love. In my experience with myself, that didn't come, and this speaks to something we had a little conversation right before this podcast, and you were talking about, you feel like you cleared so much out that there's this freedom now to just be.
Yes.
In my experience with my life, it took the clearing out so that there weren't clogs or places where the river would get, walled off or not able to flow through. So for things to flow through, to manifest, to be able to create, or to have, it's not even us creating, it's creation moving through. That's what it feels like.
Exactly.
It does not feel personal at all. It just feels like, oh, that's what this particular human being is supposed to be doing right now. Okay, I'm along for the ride on the river. So, but we have to do the work on ourselves. That's part of being able to flow with that river, is being willing to be present with, to embrace the parts of ourselves that are hard to be with. And then as we do more and more of that, the flow happens more and more.
It does, and it's interesting when you look at autism and how it serves you, and also um, doesn't feel like it's serving you out in the world. Um, and then figuring out, maybe growing into yourself, doing all the therapy, going to every place you can to get there, all the ways that you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So that I kind of look at it like, for those of us that get late diagnosed, we're searching, 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 searching. And that search is us proving we believe ourselves, we love
Yeah.
ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't give a crap to search this hard for so long. And so by the time we get a diagnosis, and that has its own thing with all kinds of different journeys, and I'm still on it, but we get to this point where, oh my gosh, I have so many tools because of all the years that I was searching and searching and searching. And it's like, oh, okay, so now when somebody very egotistical or narcissistic walks into my life, I feel them, not always, believe me, this is no panacea for anything, but more so now, I feel them 30 feet ahead, 3 days ahead of when they got here. And I can sort of create a boundary for myself energetically to be like, I'm not going, I got so much going on. I'm so excited about, I'm not going to have that derail me, but I notice it there, and I'm going to take it in and witness it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to ignore it, because that's what I did before and that didn't work. It just builds and builds. So I'm going to acknowledge that that's there as a way to disperse it and honor it and let it go, so that it's not yet another thing I throw on my back and carry around going, why do I feel so heavy?
Right. Well, I love that, and I think as we clear things out, our porousness comes more into the foreground. And so our porousness, meaning our openness, um, that opens up our intuition, which can manifest in different ways. Some people are intuitive about future events or past events, or, and others are intuitive about the person that's right in front of them. You sense what's going on. So there's different channels of intuition or porousness, according to an individual's makeup. None is better than the other. But just resting in what we are, in that openness, um, is just so incredibly beautiful. And again, we can't arrive here
Right.
until we arrive here with every part of ourselves.
Right. I am definitely I'm going to go all in or not at all, because it doesn't work if I don't go all in, even if all in means that it looks like I made an absolute fool out of myself. And so when I get these warnings from people about, you shouldn't write your book, you shouldn't be doing this, because they haven't experienced me not being codependent, not being this clear, not be having this much self-worth, not ego, not full of ego. God, no, the opposite of that, just full of worth for myself, which we should all be so honored to have. It was hard earned and worked for, and it didn't have to be that hard, but that's the way our world is set up. But whatever, I crossed this lexicon into this new space, and then parts of me have showed up the day that I hit publish that go, don't do that, shut up, nobody wants to hear what you have to say, stop talking, you're in danger, danger, danger. And what's nice is an older, or a different version of me even a month ago would have really heeded those warnings and gone, what am I not checking? What am I not looking? Where's the monster? Da da da. And today I can go, huh, okay, that's interesting. And I'm still going to hit send and publish my book.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. And it speaks to how our old programming becomes less and less powerful, and we give it less and less credence. It's also a choice. At some point, it becomes a choice. For a while, it just runs the show, right? We believe all of it and even the unconscious stuff. But you're talking about, it still comes up. Our conditioning will come up, but you're just saying, okay, there you are, but I'm clicking send. I love that. And interesting too, what we touched on during our conversation before too was, how what comes into our lives is a reflection of aspects of ourselves. So, as you mentioned before, the people coming in and saying no or criticizing or whatever are simply a reflection of your own fears, your own thoughts, and an opportunity to stand true and strong in what you know.
And when you've given yourself room to really know yourself, you have enough room to go, oh, I don't need to attack that person. It's
Yes,
not coming from them specifically. It's coming from you. You're just, those are echoes, faint echoes of where you used to live that are just mirroring you from distant places. They're not really real anymore, and you can let go of them. But when you are so full of other people's stuff and your own stuff, and you don't know what's theirs and what's yours, you don't have the room to have enough discernment to go, oh, I don't need to get mad about that. That has nothing to do with me. Or that
right.
has everything to do with me from me, not from them. They didn't just throw a spear and wound me. They
Right.
just showed me what's already here. So I don't need to go throw a spear back at them and keep this freaking unhealthy cycle
Well,
going.
that's exactly right. And I would venture to say that when we have a strong reaction to somebody in our environment, it's because that aspect of ourselves has not yet been fully met. Nothing wrong with that. No criticism, no shame in that. It's just things appear. I mean, this again is the miracle of life, that our lives are our own special curriculum, our own uniquely created soul's curriculum for learning, for deepening. So whatever appears in front of us is an opportunity to go deeper. And when I have a reaction, I know that's my business, not somebody else's. I would love to read one of my favorite poems, a Rumi poem, which
Please.
I'm sure you're familiar with, and probably many in the audience, but it just really speaks to this. So it's The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So, I mean, I just love this poem. And it's speaking about what arises in us, but also what arises apparently outside of us. We still think that we're this individual human being, that there's, an other and a me.
Right.
But the truth is, when we are meeting each of these aspects of others and ourselves, it's the same. And as we meet more and more of them, our boundaries begin to dissolve more and more in terms of recognizing that, being aware of that.
I love that so much. It's interesting how you can hear something from years ago and then look at how you took that then as opposed to how you understand what they said now. And you go, oh my God, I was walking around so boxed into everything for so long that I only could hear just like a nanosecond of that beautiful thought. But then 20 years later, run across the same thing and go, like, I had heard that, what you just read years ago. And oh gosh, and oh, the level of ability to have meaning around it was so different. I'm not going to put it down because that's where I was, but it's so different than what that means for me today. But that's what's so beautiful about language. The same poem can mean 1,000 different things every time you read it.
Right. And as we deepen into ourselves, into our true nature, into what we really are, which is love, as we meet all the aspects of ourselves and embrace them, which is love, meeting these and embracing, we are able to perceive and listen more deeply. And I find that too, that something I read 20 years ago resonates in a completely different way, in a much more profound way nowadays. So I love that you highlighted that.
And also, too, that a lot of times, we are very, very much in, uh, uh, actually, we always are very much in control of what is happening to us from that spiritual level, because it's happening for us.
Yeah,
When you're a human, it's happening to you.
right, right, right. Yes. And if we can just shift, I think it comes with the deepening too, this different perspective on life. But also, even if we can just shift mentally, we might forget, but if we start by shifting mentally how we perceive the world as things happening to me, instead looking, as Ram Dass would say, like being a soul with, he didn't exactly use these words, but our body is like clothing, right? And we are here for a soul's curriculum. We are in school here on this planet for our soul. And so everything that comes into our lives is an opportunity to deepen a personalized, unique path every single moment, an opportunity to be present with whatever arises externally or internally.
Mm. Can you tell us about the center that you created, and what are you able to talk about what your plans are for this?
I would love to. So, this is the nonprofit that you're referring to, Living Darshan. We have two aspects of it. The first is what we're calling education and outreach. So, that is deepening the understanding of autism in the world, which is what we are speaking to today,
Mhm.
and what my talk will be about on July 8th. And we do a lot of different, community events, talks, presentations, that kind of thing for that aspect. The other part of Living Darshan is that we are planning on creating a residential and retreat community center where autistic adults will be able to live long term, and where other people, whether they're autistic or not, can come for day programs or for longer term retreats. So the sort of um, foundation of that residential and community center is, there's so many aspects, but there's a huge need, first of all, for long-term housing for folks on the spectrum. So that's just a practical aspect of it. Many are living with their parents because they aren't able to care for themselves. And their parents are elderly at this
Really,
point,
yeah.
and deeply concerned about what's going to happen to their child. I carry that with my daughter as well. And I think all parents do, whose children, um, because of their exquisite sensitivities, are not able to fully take care of themselves or live independently in our harsh world right now. So, I mean, that's just a practical aspect, but everyone who lives there will be in alignment and resonant with the understanding that these autistic beings are exquisitely open, exquisitely sensitive, exquisitely porous. And so the environment will be supportive of that. And my sense is that these amazing open beings living together will create an energy field. And so when people come to do workshops or retreats or engage in activities, even just things like cooking or organic gardening or horseback riding or, groups or watching a movie together or anything, that helps shift energy, right? When we can feel when we're around someone who's exquisitely sensitive or a spiritual teacher or someone who's very open and porous and sensitive, we can sense that because it's shifting our own vibration. We
Right.
sense because it's shifting us. And so this kind of environment will be very powerful for anyone who comes to visit. So it serves a few purposes. It provides a wonderful, nourishing, supportive environment for autistic adults. And it also provides an opportunity for other people to come and begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. So I'm really excited about it. We are very much in the fundraising process. So if anyone is interested in either being a part of this or in contributing in any way, financially or otherwise, the website is livingdarshan.org. You can reach out to us through that website or donate through the website. We're imagining, or the vision was that it will be here in Charleston, in the greater Charleston area. We don't have land yet, but I'm open to the possibility of it being elsewhere. And our hope is that someone will donate land that, has a really good, for lack of a better word, I hope these words aren't too woo-woo for your
No.
audience, but a good vibration to it, like a really good, nourishing, high vibration to the property. So that's where we're at.
Well, it's running right next to Appalachia, which has about the most minerals and crystals and all kinds of high frequency things right in the earth that you're standing upon. So,
There we go. Yeah. Yeah. So, my sense is that this will happen within the next few years, although I don't know for sure. Just, seeing what unfolds with it.
what I do you mind if I tell you what I see about that?
Please, please.
What happens when passionate educators, therapists, and parents come together with the mics on? You get All Abilities No Filter, a podcast that goes beyond buzzwords and gets into the heart of what it means to advocate for people with disabilities. Real talk, real stories, real impact. Check us out wherever you listen to podcasts and join a community that believes in doing it together and doing it better. All Abilities No Filter is brought to you by Springbrook Autism Behavioral Health.
City. And I thought, oh, wow, that is really incredible. It's advanced technology that will be utilized throughout. It's part of their peaceful teachings, all of these different things. And I thought, well, that sounds like somewhere I would definitely want to be. And then I heard about what you're doing, and I went, oh, this is even more. This is even more at an interesting place because what I see is people coming, like me as an example, where I don't have what looks like a pedigree or a long scroll of my achievements in terms of what the world says are achievements. Like I don't have my PhD or my MD or all these things, right? And what a place like this is for is let's go meet some people that figured out how to do things sideways and let's learn from how they figured out how to function even in a world designed not to support what they do, and yet they created beauty out of it with their fingers or with their minds, with what they write or what they do. And now they're here to share their gift with other people
Beautiful.
so that if it's someone that's learned traditionally, they're going to learn a different way, which opens up their neural pathways by watching this person. That's one way. And another way is welcome, neurodivergent people. Welcome. Here is a place that can witness you, and we are never going to ask you, what are your credentials for being here? We're going to have you share your
Right.
gifts.
And the other piece of this is that, you know, the value of an individual isn't in what they produce or um, even what they create.
Yes.
There are many autistic individuals, some of them my patients, who are non-speakers and um, at this point are not creating in the world. Maybe they would, be able to an environment like this, and we would certainly support whichever way each person wants to go.
Exactly.
But the value will be placed on this porousness, the
They're
being that
being.
we all are, the beauty, the
Yes.
miracle of each of us as human beings being birthed into this world, into this realm, out of love, out of truth, out of whatever we want to call it. But we all come from that. And that's the miracle. And, in my experience, autistic individuals, again, are residing so closely within that, which is
Yes.
why you autistic people are our teachers. Maybe not standing up on a podium. Most people aren't. Most autistic people
Right.
are not. And right,
That's not
wouldn't
me.
want to or wouldn't be able to.
I would do it, but it would take 3 days of rest and leave me alone and to get up and speak. So I can do it and I have done it, but it's not, there's so much other awesome stuff going on. I don't want to pull my energy off of the other stuff in order to deal with that
It's
much.
not the river flowing through you. But again,
Exactly.
it's not about what you or anybody else does, because your very presence in the world is shifting
Ah,
all of us. Now, creation moves through, right? For many individuals, but for some, it doesn't, and that's okay too. But the gift, the value, what I bow to in everyone, but also in the autistic individuals who I meet and who are going to be living at the center, is the being that they are, that is shining through them because of their porousness, and that we all have access to.
that is so awesome because I still am wired, obviously, to the gotta create model. And you're right, there is such an amazing thing that I've always been drawn to. The thing that drew me in so much as a kid that I remember all the time is my grandmother working with kids at what was called a mental hospital, right? And it was kids with autism. It was, which I don't think at the time that I met kids on the spectrum, the diagnosis was hardly there or barely there at that time because we're talking
Yeah.
way in
I
the
imagine they were
70s.
probably diagnosed as, back then, they were using the term mental retardation or.
Yes, that was the word, retardation. That was the word for everything. Down syndrome, autism, everything was that. And I hung out with these kids every day after school, every single day after school, because my grandmother was a foster grandparent. I felt so, those are the safest parts
Yeah.
of my childhood, hanging out with these kids and witnessing how they're treated in public when they would make a lot of noise or get really excited and watching people react. And I learned really early on, oh, being this free and just being yourself and it kind of
Yeah.
bothers
Oh,
people.
yeah.
It can really bother people. And so a place where that's honored
Yeah.
instead of vilified,
Absolutely. I mean,
it feels like a
yes, I
dream.
love what you're saying. A couple things come to mind. I ever since Sachi was a tiny baby, I have felt like whenever we go out in public, we we leave chaos in our wake. There's just always something, there's just her behavior is just simply outside of social norms. And it used to be greatly distressing to me. And thank goodness that's a whole other story, which I do talk about in my book.
Right.
But thank goodness I came to understand that my job ultimately was not to make her more normal. And, of course, I want her to be safe out in public. But one story I'll tell you, just a simple one, is I took her to the Open Your Heart in Paradise retreat. Ram Dass has been just such an influence in my life. And so I wanted her to meet Ram Dass
Mm.
at that retreat. And she was probably 4 or so. And so she met him, and it was so profound. Tell a side story right now. Many autistic people don't look people in the eye. She doesn't. But boy, when she met Ram Dass, he was in his wheelchair and she just kneeled in front of him and gazed up at him. And I have this picture of them just gazing
Ah,
into each other's eyes, like just that deep, profound connection. Okay, so we were in like a satsang, or I don't know if it was Krishna Das chanting or whatever, and Sachi was getting antsy. I don't know if it was too loud for her, but we stepped outside. Our friend Bub was standing outside too. And everybody leaves their shoes, right? Out during something like that. You leave your shoes out because you go in without shoes outside. So there were, maybe 150 pairs of shoes. Well, Sachi absolutely loves shoes. So she started trying on everybody's shoes. She's got these tiny little feet. She's trying on all these adult shoes, clopping around in them, leaving them in another place, clopping around. And I was talking to Bub and I'm like, Sachi, no, people aren't going to be able to find their shoes. Because if you've been on a retreat and you've done this, you have to remember when there's that many shoes, you remember where you put your shoes so that when you come out, you can find them. Right.
you find
She's
them.
moving all these shoes around because she's trying them, clopping. And I'm like, Sachi. And I was trying to talk to Bub, who's a dear friend. He's like, let her do it. It'll be good for people. So, it'll be good for them. Shake them up a little bit. It was so perfect. It was such a good lesson for me. So I just laughed. I let her do it, but I did sneak away with her before it ended so that I wouldn't kind of see all these people looking, but I can only imagine. So that's the chaos we leave in our wake, but other things too. I mean, she used to put her hands in strangers' pockets. I tell that story a lot. I won't go into details right now, but she loves pockets. And to her, there is no other pockets are just
Right.
pockets. So she'd take off at a grocery store or whatever when she saw someone with pockets and she put her hands in their pockets. So there's even more to that story, but just things like that are just so outside of social norms, making unique sounds that for her, I think really bring her into her body, or maybe she's communing with I don't know what's going on, but I used to really try to get her to stop those things because of my own indoctrination with social norms. And now she doesn't put her hands in people's pockets. Now, things like that, it's not like I feel like I should just let her do everything because she could
Right.
get hurt. Other people, maybe it'll trigger trauma. She's got her hands in their pockets, I don't know. So there are limits and I still work with her with some behaviors, but other things I've really let go of and just let her be her own person. The other story that comes to mind, or the other highlight I'd like to tell you, is there's an event called Surfers Healing. Maybe some of your audience has heard of that. Professional surfers from around the world, surfershealing.org if you're interested, travel.
I'm writing it down. If you hear my
Yes,
pen, listeners,
yes.
it's me writing it
Professional
down.
surfers from around the world travel around the world every summer to surf with autistic kids at different. And Izzy Paskowitz, a professional surfer who has a young adult son on the spectrum and who used to have a reality show, he started this. And they started it, I think, 18, 19 years ago. And they have been coming to Folly Beach, which is right near us. A friend of mine has been organizing this for, I think, like 18 years. And so Sachi goes to it every year. We have our Darshan booth there. Hundreds and hundreds of people sign up for each event. They come from all over. Ours always has a wait list of, there's a lottery, has a wait list of hundreds of people because it is an incredibly beautiful event. When you walk out there that day, it is walking into a realm of love. Feel it. The
Oh,
families are all there. The kids, everyone is allowed to be who they are completely. You name it. Meltdowns, joy, squealing, you name it. Everything is just totally welcomed. Every being and every part of every being. Miracles happen. Our former speech therapist told me that one kiddo that she was working with for a long time, a non-speaker, spoke his first word right after he got off the surfboard. So these pro surfers, take these kids on the surfboard with them. So just an example of, you can feel the vibration when you walk out there, right? Just an example of how a field of energy can create miracles, so-called miracles, can shift all of us. And it's so good not only for the kids, but it's good for us family members who, you know, we, as I'll just speak as a parent, it's, I speak to the gift of autism and all that a lot, but I really want to make sure I acknowledge that it is so challenging for the autistic individuals to be in this realm, but also for us parents. There's so much that comes up that we have to deal with. It's an intense path. We chose a very advanced souls curriculum. I will just say that as parents because it is super intense. Um, and also just, having to deal with society's judgments and ideas and, oh, we should just be disciplining them and things like that. And people saying things like that to us. So
Oh, yeah.
um, and then just feeling really isolated. I do have friends who are parents of kids on the spectrum, a few, but I still feel alone with it all, and just being a single mom and carrying the weight of all of it. I'll give an example. I have a tooth abscess right now, um, and was able to get a dental appointment this afternoon. I was feeling so stressed last night because we have so much going on today. But I don't have a babysitter available and I don't have family available who can help me. And so Sachi sometimes goes to appointments with me. That can be so challenging because she may get agitated. And one time when I was seeing a neurologist, she got so agitated, I kept trying to talk with her. And, the doctors, they have 15 minutes. And I couldn't even speak
Right.
with him hardly at all. And so, today, now I put a prayer out yesterday and it was answered. So I have someone. But today, the stress was there, I'm going to have the dentist, in my mouth doing some kind of procedure. I can't even talk to her. She's going to be sitting right there because she can't sit out in the waiting room. Who knows? She might take off, see someone with shorts, on another outside or something. So anyways, I'm just giving one example immediately in my life, but this is every day. It's such a challenge. And I just want to acknowledge that. And if you are a parent or a caregiver or a relative or a sibling, just to say, with deep compassion, it is such a challenging path. And even though I may not know you, I am with you heart to heart, and we are all in this together. And we are all, as Ram Dass said, we are all just walking each other home. So,
Mm.
just know that we're all out here and we are all in this together. And I'm hoping that through Living Darshan, we can create a community of parents, caregivers, family members who also connect because we have our own unique challenges. The vision with Darshan, by the way, recently there was another download for right next to the property of Darshan, there being another community of those of us who are connected to Darshan in some way. So we have our own community. And most of us probably parents or just people that maybe work at Living Darshan, therapists or whatever, who are called to support each other, to deepen into the truth of our being. So I'm excited about that too, because I would love to live in community like that.
Well, when I'm not in the place that I am now, where I'm caretaking someone else, I'm going to be pulling up in my tiny
Oh,
home.
honey, you can
Where
you
do I
park
park it?
right
Can I
here in
go
our
buy the
driveway.
land?
Oh my goodness. We would love to have you here. My, thank you for
Oh,
that. Thank
that
you
would
for your
just be
compassion.
it gives me something really lovely to think about as a future
Thank
possibility,
you for that. And that,
you know? And so much about autism and dementia. Just, I want listeners to know too, there's so much about those two things, that liminal space that you can meet with a parent going through dementia. Maybe you've never been able to connect with them before and you blamed it on the autism, but suddenly you can connect with them while they're dealing with dementia. And you're like, whoa, this is an interesting
yes.
path. It makes me think of what you just said because I have the same thing. I have to do something today and figuring out what I'm going to do with mom while that happens and I don't have someone to call, and help. It's a lot.
A
It's a
caregiver, it is a
lot.
lot. I love you connecting dementia and autism. I had the same experience with my mom and with my grandma. They're just, as the mind disappears, their light shines even more brightly. And so that our lights naturally resonate with their lights, right? There's that connection when the mind doesn't get in the way as much. It's
Exactly. That's
a
a
whole
whole
other
other show.
show.
We will
It's a whole
delve
other show.
a
Yes.
whole
But I love
other
that you
show.
connected these two things. It's beautiful.
Melinda, thank you so much for coming back on. Everyone, please visit her website. Tell the website and where they need to go to sign up. And no, listeners, I'll also have a link in the
Okay. Well,
description.
Kristen, thank you. It is such a joy to be friends, to be connected. And thank you for spreading the word and deepening the understanding of autism in the world. Um, so my website is melindaedwardsmd.com. You can access the Living Darshan website through there. You can contact me through there. And you can also, if you want to get the book, there's a link on there to Amazon to get that. I want to mention one more thing. We are planning
Yeah.
a conference entitled Neurodiversity, Science, and Spirituality. And it's likely going to be in May of 2026. We're looking at the possibility of making it hybrid, still kind of, flushing out some details. But that website is nssconference.com. So Neurodiversity, Science, and Spirituality, nssconference.com. The other exciting thing is, like I said, popcorn is happening. Tammy Simon recently did a series of interviews on neurodiversity and spirituality. The first one is coming out on Sounds True 1, which is sort of the the part of Sounds True that you pay for to have. It's coming out on Thursday, my friend Sarah. And I don't know if there will be one. Yeah, Sarah,
Sarah Taylor?
Sarah, yeah. And there
Yes.
are
Yes.
four
Love
others,
her.
myself, Susie Miller, my friend Guy Shahar, who's autistic in England, and Chelsea Potts, who's wonderful as well. So I'm really excited about that. Do we have one more minute where I can just tell? Okay.
Yes.
So
Please.
this movement, this river moving through, like I just felt for months that I wanted to write to Tammy Simon and tell her, look, so many spiritual organizations are reaching out to LGBTQIA community. They're reaching out to BIPOC, people of color. But nobody's reaching out to autistic people. Nobody's reaching out to the neurodiverse community. It's just such a blind spot in spiritual organizations.
Yes.
And so months I felt this, and I didn't know why I wasn't writing her. Then suddenly it was like, boom, time to write. And I just found myself writing her. And I wrote, and she got back with me and she said, we had a Zoom call and she was like, the day before I got your email, I had told my assistant that I wanted to do a series on neurodiversity. So the timing was perfect. And it was
Of course
beautiful.
it
And,
was.
and she was at that point still unfamiliar with, this sort of topic. So I gave her the names of all these people and she ends up interviewing each one of them. So super exciting for me. I love it that this is coming out. And as you know, Sounds True, they have a lot of people listening. So it's on Sounds True 1 to start with, and then it will be on regular Sounds True, maybe in August or so. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, it's exciting what I'm witnessing happen and how it's unfolding for people. And even just like I have a TikTok connected to my pen name, and I'm putting stuff out there and recording things and doing stuff, and seeing the people come in and resonate with it, and they don't know who I am, and I didn't want the network and my name attached to it and any projections coming from that. I just wanted it to be no, like you don't know me. This is just a message. It's just what's going on. It's not, there's nothing, you don't need to know the delivery truck that comes with me in my life. This is just pure signal here,
Yeah.
right? And what I love is watching other creators out there. Oh, they're using some of the same lingo. We're all plugging in to this same message out there, and that's
It's
what's
so
fascinating.
true. It's the beginning of this deeper understanding, not just of autism. I say sometimes that autism is a cloak, really, or it's a deeper
Exactly.
understanding of what we are. And, I told a friend of mine the other day who was saying, I might attend the talk. I don't know. I don't really have autism in my life. I'm like, by the way, the autism is just, yeah,
Go
everything I'm
anyway.
about is all about the truth of what we are and us all dropping in more and more deeply into that.
I love that. And I'll say this, what'll happen as you do that, it's really interesting because then I'll get people from a world before and me before that'll go, well, why would you write it under a pen name? Why aren't you doing this? Don't you want to climb that success ladder and then go do this and then go do that and do all these steps? And I go, look, I don't, you don't need to read anything I'm writing. If you want to, go right ahead. If you don't like it, you don't need to
Uh-huh.
tell me. I don't need that kind of feedback. I'm good. But if it resonates with you, good, that's great too. And I'd say this, if you find it out there, that's all that meant to happen. You don't even need to know that that was my writing. If you found it and it meant something to you, great. And a lot of people in the confines and the construct of the way that we're supposed to be successful and manifest, manifest, and do, and do, and do, they can't understand someone saying, I'm not putting my work out in that
Right.
way.
Because you're not based, you're coming from this other place of truth and love. It's not motivated by the individual human ego, and nothing wrong with, creating from there. We all are
Exactly.
where we're at. What's flowing through you right now is just so pure, and you don't need recognition. You don't need
I don't. It's only important that I recognize myself through
beautiful.
this. That's all that matters. So if one person, well, maybe 10 people that I asked to read the book have read it, and if that's all that read it, that's fine. The point was
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Beautiful. That's all that matters, period, is recognizing the truth of who and what we are. Period. That's it. And
Mm,
hey, you're doing
we're
it.
doing it.
Yeah.
And as you do it, other people want to do it too. And that's the spark. And that's what makes us keep moving forward. I love it. Thank you so,
Thank you.
so much. I'm excited about all the
Thank
things
you,
going
Kristen, and
on.
thank you for shining your light so brightly in the world. I love this birth of you. That's it's just beautiful to witness. Just unfolding. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful for me. So I would want everyone to feel, to really find themselves because my God, what an incredible journey to go, oh, I'm really a decent, to be surprised at who you are with, oh gosh, I was operating under this
Yeah.
horrible idea of myself that simply isn't true. And I don't have to live like that. It's amazing. So the thing that you end up wanting for other people is not for them to do what you did, because that's your journey. It's for them to do their own. Just
Yeah.
take the journey because it's
Yeah.
so
And the
great.
miracle of throwing off these untruths as they unwind and unravel these wounds that create these untruths in our minds, the miracle of those unraveling and of throwing them off, bringing forward the truth of who we are. It comes naturally. We don't have to find the truth of who we are. All we have to do is and
Remember,
meet the parts of ourselves that we haven't met. Let me see if I wish I could. Let me see if I can remember that one quote or if I can find it of Rumi. Um, I'll just see if I can remember it. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the parts of yourself that have been blocked from, I've got it wrong, I'm sorry, but all the parts of yourself that you have not met. That is not word for word,
mm,
but that's the gist of it.
but it's
Yeah.
that's the gist of it. And that's on that note, I would say, listeners, Melinda will be back for
Great.
sure.
I'd love to hang out with all of you again. Thank you, Kristen. Take care.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next show.
But will you ride the low, low, lows with me? Will you ride the low, low, lows with me?
one thing you can always count on at Mental Health News Radio Network and my show is that there will always be dogs around. Why? They are natural healers, excellent for your mental health. The original therapy dog Miles has something to say in just a moment. For now, please check out all of our amazing shows at mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com and all your favorite podcast apps. Until next time, I'm Kristen Sonanta Walker, and thank you for listening.
And I can write the low, low, lows with me. I can write the low, low, lows with me. Till my vision clears up perfectly. I can write the low, low, lows with me.
Good boy.